Well then, welcome niggas. Welcome back to another episode of this particular program. I am Curtis Mayfield.
And I am Ashley Banks. This is The Read. Thanks for coming back.
Yes, indeed it is. Lots to go over. Won't waste too much of your time. I'm sure you're super busy and have so many places to travel and things to do and people to see and just go out in the world and run around in public without a mask on. So before we move into that kind of stuff, we're going to give some honor and Black excellence. And this week it is going to Dana Kennedy. Dana Kennedy is the first ever Black vice president of Simon & Schuster. She is the first ever Black senior vice president of one of the biggest publishing houses in existence. Yeah. Not only that, but she won a Pulitzer Prize for a series called How Races Lived in America. And we'll be using her Blackness, her beauty, her knowledge, and wokeness to further diversifying the world of publishing. I'm reading on Because of Them We Can. She said, I think the reason books still exist alongside journalism is that readers want thoughtful narratives that take a while to pull together in an authoritative way. I agree. And that's where books have an advantage. She also said, I think as it relates to book publishing, we have an opportunity to bring about meaningful understanding and change in the country with the voices we highlight, be they well-known authors or emerging voices. And I will be paying a lot of attention to that. So shout out to Black people in great spaces with their great faces.
Congratulations.
So moving on into this week's pop culture news, hot tops. Started from the bottom, now I'm queer. We have
a lot of people's story.
We've had an entanglement of news today. Where should I begin?
There's a lot going on.
Monique addressed some gossip that she will be replacing Nene Leakes on the upcoming season of Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Oh, Lord.
Not sure what Facebook group was making up these damn rumors, but apparently enough to get to Monique's attention.
Wow.
And so in a cute little video in her kitchen, Monique was doing some cooking and she said no, not at all. She is not going to be replacing Nene Leakes and that nobody can be replacing Nene Leakes. And she, did all of her typical auntie stuff and saying how much she loves us and calling the viewers sweet babies and all of that stuff. And it was cute. Okay. Now, that isn't really what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about is what she was cooking, which is grilled watermelon steak.
What?
I'm going to repeat that. She was cooking something that is called grilled watermelon steak.
No.
Now, I don't know how many people are familiar with me and my feelings about watermelon, but I find it to be vile. I find watermelon to be completely pointless and heinous. I think that it tastes like crunchy saliva or sweet and low spit or, crispy drool. I don't find watermelon in its best state to be all that impressive, personally. Cancel me if you want to, or attempt to take my black card. I hate it. And that's how I feel. But, for some people, it could be a texture thing. For me, it's more of a flavor thing. And this grilled watermelon steak was allegedly marinated in all kinds of spices.
Shut the fuck
liquid
up.
Smoke and shit like
no,
that
they
for
didn't.
24 hours.
Oh my God.
Cut them into steak-like rectangles and then plopped them on the grill and they began to sizzle. And I need to know what this tastes like.
No. How do you marinate watermelon?
I guess, they just stuck it in a bag full of all kinds of flavors and juices and left it in a fridge or freezer or something like that overnight.
No. I mean, I've heard of people grilling watermelon before to put on kebabs or whatever, or for vegans so they can have a little smokiness in their life. I don't know. But calling it a steak and then going to the effort of like flavoring it as if it is a steak. And then I just...
Well, this is okay. So when she was done with her sermon, she said that she was going to post what it looked like afterwards. Of course, I needed to see that. And it does look like steak. I mean, it's grilled and it was red, not brown. And then it's covered in grilled onions, feta cheese, and balsamic glaze. So it literally looks like a very deceitful steak. It looks like if you blinked really fast over and over, then maybe your brain would say, oh, there's a steak in front of you. And you would be fooled enough
I cannot.
But anyway, again, I feel like it's probably still better than watermelon to me, because if you're sticking in garlic and liquid smoke and paprika and whatever and feta cheeses and onions and balsamic, it's probably going to taste better than watermelon to me, because again, watermelon tastes like sticking your head under the faucet.
I mean, I maintain that really good watermelon that are like local to the area, those are on another level. I know that you feel differently and that's fine, but I just found that monstrosity on her Instagram and it looks just as bad as I thought it would. Y'all been watching too many of them bullshit food videos on the internet where every goddamn thing you cut into is cake, and people just mix nachos with pizza and a cheeseburger and they bake it all together in one big ass lasagna. Like, I just feel like this is along them same lines, that same fuckery. Leave me alone.
If you are, I'm all for people doing whatever is best for their particular diet / health or lifestyle or whatever. You know what I mean? So this is a replacement for whatever. Go for it. Again, I think it's just funny because watermelon and steak being back to back in a sentence, those words just doesn't, like, I can't make sense of it. But I mean, again, I already hate watermelon. I would try this.
I guess if you're trying to eat less red meat, then I guess somebody who's tried it, let me know, because that don't even seem right.
It might be surprising, but again, like, it's not like I will feel like you besmirched my fave if it tastes like trash. Like, I'm not gonna give a fuck either way.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I don't know about that, but if y'all like it, I love it.
Thank God that she did this during quarantine, because I mean, if we were outside and this was like a taboo, it's always the one aunt or uncle or somebody that got to bring, their Pinterest dish to the fucking cookout. And like,
right.
Long as we've been locked up inside doors, if we were supposed to be out right now and you brought some watermelon grilled steak to the motherfucking cookout, I'm flipping the table.
Might have to fight you.
And that's just going to be that.
Really might have to. Right.
Where's the beef?
Saying you're going to bring wings and showing up with marinated cauliflower. Like, I'll
exactly. Like, nobody asked you to do that. I don't give a fuck what in the Jessica Alba Love Hewitt bitch that you was looking up on Google.
We didn't ask
Take
for
this
that.
out of here.
We did not ask.
So, Chance the Rapper was very present on Twitter today.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He did a lot of conversing with the public, a lot of chatting.
Mm-mm. No, sir.
This all began when Kanye West uploaded a video for some new song that is named after his late mother. And in the beginning of the video, it is his mother reciting KRS-One Sound of the Police. And, it's like a shot on a Super 8 and it's all, classy and all kinds of black skin and niggas getting baptized. And then he starts rapping about, police reform and whatever. So Chance L Rapper tweeted or retweeted this and said, "And y'all out here trying to convince me to vote for Biden." Shaking my fucking head.
Take this whole fucking year back.
I'm actually just going to put the car in park for a second.
Yeah.
This nigga. This particular nigga being Kanye West.
Okay.
Just had an interview where he, actually spoke about this presidential run. This is a video and some music that is honoring his mama, rest her. You know what I mean? And I know that, you know, he gets into whatever talk of, you know, Black empowerment and stuff in his lyricism that I'm not buying. But the song is a song. And him honoring his mother that he loves doesn't have anything the fuck at all to do with policy, ability, or experience,
right? The know-how,
anything,
the know-how.
So I'm just like confused as how you like leapt out of a closed window, just like broke through the glass like Batman and just landed. I'm like, what? Yeah. Anyway,
you said this is it. This is where I'm going.
It touched him, and that's fine. It was emotional. So the tweets continue. Eventually, we land on one here that says, "Are you more pro-Biden or anti-Ye? And why?" I get that you'll want to reply that you're just trying to, quote, get Trump out. But in this hypothetical scenario, where you're replacing Trump, can someone explain why Joe Biden would be better? 2 question marks. Ooh, this doesn't show the retweets. I mean, the replies, because he was, you know, chatting with a lot of the girls who were like, Chance, this
tried.
Isn't it, sis.
They did.
This
they
isn't
really
the one.
tried. They tried with his ass. All I did was laugh, because that's funny. That's a stupid question, actually. You gonna ask me why Joe Biden would be a better president than Kanye West? Leave me alone, nigga. That's a dumb question.
You know, by the time I woke up, this whole shit was over. And it went on for like 6 hours. So tells you a little bit about me. But yeah, the girls were, you know, trying to get through to him and say, hey, so your fave has no policy. He's anti-vaccine. He's anti-choice. He literally admitted to not giving a fuck about splitting the vote for his fave. Like, did you? Because that interview, I remember being in my bed at like 2 a.m. when that ended, because it went up late. I don't remember what time that, like, it was Forbes, wasn't it?
The one where he was like, I had to chase them around about me being a billionaire.
The one where he literally sat down and talked about why he was running for the president, and he said that he had COVID in February.
Oh, I didn't actually watch that.
Drake can't be sick. I don't know if there was video for it. It was like, I read it.
Okay.
But it was so mind-blowingly absurd that I almost had to I had to do extra research to make sure it wasn't a joke, or like that I was, you know, because I don't really be paying too much attention. So sometimes things will fly over my head. I'm not ashamed to admit that. So I was like, maybe this is like a parody. Maybe this is actually like someone from The Onion is doing like a piece. I don't know. It was so ridiculously out there that it just blows my mind. I can't believe that Chance the Rapper read it. Because if you did, I don't know why you would be sitting here asking anybody why they wouldn't
again
back Kanye West.
It's a stupid question. Like, has Kanye released anything at all regarding policy? Like, anything at all? I'm not excited about Joe Biden. Not in the fucking least. But the man at least has a website where he outlines his position on things. Like, that is the bare fucking minimum. And not to mention, Kanye has not even filed for this. Like, he is not serious. So please stop playing.
He says, I didn't plan on trending today, but I would like to take this opportunity to say, with all these apologies and accountabilities going around, the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department should finally admit to and denounce the assassination of Fred Hampton. I also always felt a way about people using the word presidential, like a nigga acting or not acting presidential. Was Andrew Jackson acting presidential?
Oh my God.
Isn't presidential also like a slang term for getting head? I'm going to look that up, because it's like, girl, why are we even talking about what presidential means, but or like, what niggas?
Right. That doesn't, not being presidential is subjective, first of all. And secondly, not even the most important reason that one should not vote for Kanye. So why is this even coming up? And then to bring up Fred Hammond too, it's like, what? What are you doing right now though? Because what does that have to do with your point?
I'm so regretting that I looked up presidential.
Oh no. What is it? Something disgusting?
Don't even do it.
Okay.
No, it's just stupid.
I will heed that.
Anyway, he says, how do you as an individual feel about prison abolition and universal basic housing? And if you're in favor of those things, how important are they in terms of immediacy? Oh, he just went on and on and on. He put up a poll about reparations, if you're for it or against it. This kind of continued until finally he landed on this tweet that says, okay, this is me slowly trying to get down from this hill without falling and dying. Whoever you vote for, I hope they abolish the prison system as we know it, honor Black reparations and all treaties with indigenous folk, and lastly, end homelessness. Whomever that may be, God bless him. And it wasn't until right after that Chance was standing at the top of his hill with his hands on his hips looking out at the horizon.
Yep.
And when he looked over to his left, he saw another hill equal in height with Terry Crews on the top of it, smiling at him, giving him this cross-eyed dumbass grin. And then it was when Chance was like, oh, maybe let me actually get down.
He was like, trying to come down slowly, but let me just go ahead and tuck and roll. Let me just get
Terry
out this
Crews
bitch.
retweeted his ass like in some agreement, like, oh yeah, I know what it's like to die on a crazy hill that none of these niggas agree with you on or whatever. And then Chance tweeted, okay, sprinting down the hill now. I understand. He literally, it's on his feet.
Yeah.
I understand the improbability of Ye winning the 46th presidential seat, and I understand that everyone voting for Biden isn't necessarily doing so enthusiastically. I am for Black liberation and do not accept my recent endorsement from Terry Crews. Jesus.
You know, Terry went back and deleted them tweets after that. It's like,
he sure did.
Did you?
And then later he retweeted Chance and was like, I wasn't endorsing you, bro. Like, we know that.
That's
like,
right.
I think that just woke him up to how crazy he was sounding.
Yep. And it's sad that that's what it took, because countless people tried to get him to see. And I guess, to his credit, he was starting to understand the fallacy in his argument. But Terry Crews just kind of drove the point home like immediately. Like, oh no, nigga, get down off of this right now.
It just annoyed me because again, when I looked at that motherfucking interview on Forbes,
I won't.
I was literally cackling. I'm talking about in the middle of the night, up in my bed, reading this and shaking my head and laughing at the same time. It was that ridiculous and that transparent. You're not just gonna put out a song a week later or whenever the fuck and be like, I'm trying to do this for y'all niggas and whatever the fuck it is that he says on that song, and me be like, maybe I should consider something different. Like, this conversation to me does no good for any the fuck body. Like, sweetie, people with one eye open have kind of realized that our options are shit and mud. We know that.
Right.
We know.
We do.
The situation is, it's also not an unfamiliar situation, because I've been saying for a solid year that this nigga is going to be president for another 4 years, because motherfuckers are going to have a candidate that they don't fuck with and do the same shit that happened last time. And I wish that we had more of a conversation, a discussion that could come up with an understanding or a resolution about that. I wish that we could have done that in the past 4 years, rather than now sitting back and looking at a music video and talking about why this nigga might be a better option than the other nigga that we don't trust. Because he from the same city as you and has done some great things for the city. Ain't nobody acknowledging that Kanye West has done great things for Black people and stood up for Black people and stuff like that. But right now, with the shit that we have in front of us, it's ridiculous for you to be talking about why would somebody not vote for the rap nigga Kim Kardashian's rap nigga husband,
right,
versus somebody who has actual political experience, even if we don't fuck with that nigga like that. I just don't understand what good any of this chatter is supposed to do.
We see what it looks like right now to have a president who don't know what the fuck they doing. We see that right now. Why would we want the Black version of that? What the fuck, man? It's so simple. That's why I was like, I'm literally not doing this. I'm at the point of frustration where if you are asking something that I don't want to say should not be asked, but the answer is something that's common sense, I just cannot even be bothered with it. Because that was a dumbass fucking question. I'm just not, like, I'm not even going to engage with that. I'm glad you realized how stupid it was and you came back around. And I agree. Like, I want the same things Chance said he wanted. But at this point, it is about, like, stopping the fucking bleeding. It just
I don't even think that he really realizes that it's stupid. I think that he maybe just acknowledged that he's going to disagree with more people than he expected. And then it probably wasn't going to do him any further good talking about it. You know what I mean? I think if anything, like I said, Terry Crews being like, yeah, bro, I feel you, was maybe the thing that was like, oh shit. Because like you pointed out on Twitter, this is the second time that he realized maybe he needed to quit after the wrong person.
Yes. This has happened to you before.
Yes, it certainly has. Because you definitely popped up in a Trump tweet and we're all shocked about it.
The worst.
So, like, I'm sure that Chance the Rapper's heart is in the right place. I read enough of what he was saying to understand that his heart is in the right place. But, like, I know, like, this felt like, you know, the little brother who runs outside, tears streaming down his face because his brother's getting jumped. And he was just trying to get people to jump off his brother's back. But it's just like, no, you know, no. This isn't the shit. Because meanwhile, Lori Lightfoot is sending.
Wait, what happened with Lori Lightfoot?
Lori Lightfoot is motherfucking sending Census Cowboy out. Did you hear about this?
Not at all.
Lori Lightfoot had a press conference because of like, the Chicago was like a 55% response rate for the census or something like that.
Okay.
And so she was like talking about how like she loved Batman or something when she was young. And so she was going to take a page out of Gotham to like, I guess, call upon this hero / mascot that would encourage people to like fill the census out. And then she put a giant lime green cowboy hat on her head, and this dreadhead nigga on a horse came out, and I heard Lil Nas X playing. I don't know if they memed in the Lil Nas X part, but like literally they have a nigga on a cowboy who is a mascot for the census that's supposed to be going around Chicago encouraging niggas to fill that shit out. And not only that, they're doing a ward challenge apparently where like the like top ward or whatever gets free ice cream. Sis.
No, she is not trying to get these kids a pizza party. If everybody gets 100 on their spelling test, we could have a pizza party ass.
Bitch, I said free ice cream? What in the cubbyhole kindergarten rugrats are you talking about? It was just like, girl, are you like everything I've been seeing lately on the news has just been so absurd. It can't even be true. Anyway.
That is...
God bless us.
I mean, and watch it work too. Watch all of a sudden niggas be like, wait, free ice cream.
I'm not saying it won't be productive. You know what I'm saying? And just do it. You know, it doesn't even take that long.
You do what you got to do. That lady is trying her best.
That shit tickled me.
I gotta find that video. Oh,
you
Jesus.
Have to. It is so
I cannot
fucking
wait.
funny.
I'm gonna
it's
watch
so
it.
funny.
I'm gonna.
It almost like shit today almost I would assume makes comedians' jobs hard. Cause like how can you compete with a lot of this shit?
You can't write this shit.
Speaking of niggas who could have probably kept their tweets to themselves, there's an NFL player by the name of Kyle Quiero who faced a deserved backlash after he tweeted the following. People are attracted to Jill Scott, he says. And by no means is she ugly, but y'all really sexually aroused by her, huh? So it's an energy thing? Got it.
Wow.
He then continued, I tried to explain my tweet after realizing how poorly it was worded and conveyed. I didn't grow up on Jill Scott, so it was news to me that she was a sex symbol, and I just tweeted stupidly. It was best to just delete it and take my L.
Well,
you're right about something.
Yeah.
I've also seen people equating my tweet to both fat shaming and a hatred of black women. With how prevalent that is, I can understand why people may feel that way, but that is not the case here. When I tell you that he passed that smartphone to his authority, like so damn fast.
So what is it about Jill Scott then that is so unbecoming that you were like, y'all dicks get hard for that? Really? Like
shocked.
So what is it then?
Perplexed and flabbergasted.
Because that don't make sense.
Shocked.
Like, just because you are not personally attracted don't mean that it's just such a crazy thought that other people might be.
That's the thing that like blew me over about it. Like, I know that I be high, but when I read this, I was like, it's crazy to me that like for so many of us, especially in this part of the world, attractiveness or like the definition of beauty, sexiness, whatever is pretty much decided for us before we get a chance to decide. Like, you know, it's thrusted in front of your face what the alleged definition of sexy is, you know? And so it's not even your fault many times if that's your picture of whatever the fuck it is attractive to you or attracts you or whatever. But at the same time, I'm just like, girl, not everybody gives a fuck about that. Not everybody believes that. And there are plenty of other corners of the world, cultures in the world, where that is not the standard of beauty or whatever the fuck. So it's just crazy to me that we can live in the world where that kind of shit is not even a secret and you can still openly act surprised that people might find Jill Scott sexually attractive or, you know, might be sexually aroused by her when Jill Scott is literally gorgeous.
Right. Like, and you know that, like, it's just, do you think nobody is attracted to fat girls? I'm just so confused. I would assume that that's just puzzled me. Is that what you think? But because like fat girls get shows every single day. But okay,
all the live long. I don't understand.
Like, all right, nigga. Like this was just stupid. Again, no need for you to have logged onto Twitter.com with these thoughts. No need.
So his very hardworking publicist said, not enough. Let us release an iOS press.
Oh, Lord.
And we've got a screenshotted, like a DM or something here. But Kyle posted this on Twitter. It says, to Miss Jill Scott, I would like to apologize. And then I guarantee you, if that's all he wrote, if anything. Then it says here in the screenshot, first and foremost, I'd like to apologize to Miss Jill Scott. The topic of your beauty should not have been shared over social media for public discourse. There's truly no excuses or explanations to be made. My comments were distasteful and unbecoming of a black man to speak negatively of a black woman under any circumstance. Second, I'd like to apologize to all those who were also offended by my post. I'm aware of the layers of hurt I peeled back with my words. I had no intention to make people feel less than. But that's simply not good enough. Attention doesn't equate to impact. I'm aware of how much more important one's impact is than their intention. Knowing this, I still offended a large number of people. For that, I'm deeply sorry. Last paragraph, if you have time, I will strive to do better and I will utilize what platform I have to promote positivity and empowerment within our community, particularly for Black women. Ms. Jill Scott just did this so gracefully by taking my foolishness as an opportunity to shed more light on the injustices against Breonna Taylor. Damn. And I hope to only follow in her footsteps. Sincerest apologies, Kyle Kiro. Because Jill Scott did come forward and basically be like, I don't give a fuck who that nigga is talking about, what that nigga is talking about.
Exactly.
Arrest the murderers, which was
right.
Perfect.
Let's focus on something that actually matters. Whether you get excited for Jill Scott does not actually matter. And so here we are.
I'd still like to know if it's crack, cocaine, what is it? That synthetic weed, K12?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
What it is that's making the rounds.
That fucked the streets up. I think it's the quarantine, actually. I think the longer people are in their houses, the more we are going to see celebrities just completely going off and saying things that they have no business saying. I don't think it's going to slow down.
You ever seen niggas like who are like caking on the phone talking to somebody, but they're like laid in their bed with their legs up on the wall?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know how like being caked on you'll just be in all the most awkward, stupid positions. I feel like that's what these niggas be doing when they tweet this kind of stuff.
Just do feet kicked up.
Like I seen a caking meme once, like years ago, where a nigga was on the phone, like hanging over the top of his bedroom door. Like, I feel like that's what Chance the Rapper was probably doing that shit when he was tweeting this whole thing.
Yeah, and probably the same for this NFL boy that I don't know. But
Jill Scott, imagine fine ass Jill Scott.
Like, just why did this
who had to
be
tell
shared?
who had to tell the streets to calm down when she was like simulating fellatio on the microphone.
Oh, yes.
She practically regret that she did it.
That was a lot. That was, yes, I do remember thinking, now, did we need all that? But if you go back and watch that video, the crowd absolutely fucking loved it. And so, again, just don't know where this opinion came from or why it needed to be shared.
There hasn't been a Jill Scott era where Mama has been prudish. She has been completely open about sex and sexuality in her music and expression for the longest motherfucking time. That's why I'm like, you acknowledge that she looks good, but then you're saying like, it's not fat shaming. It's not a hatred of black women. What is it that can make you be like, I'm shocked that people find this woman arousing?
Because it's a stupid question. Y'all really find Jill Scott sexually attractive? Like, duh, of course somebody finds Jill Scott attractive. What?
She doesn't have horns. She's not missing teeth. Like,
oh my God.
She doesn't have scaled wings. Like, nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you?
They just don't think.
Five suspects in Pop Smoke's murder have been arrested.
5? God damn.
Yes. 3 adult males, 2 juvenile males.
Wow.
The LAPD announced this on a couple days ago, July 9th. Released the names and all and what they were brought in on. Their bail set at $1 million for the 2 adults. Says suspect 3 was booked for whatever attempted murder and bail was also set at $1 million. So, you know, that's pretty much what the family and loved ones of Pop Smoke have to lean on today. You know, at least arrests have been made. Like I think we spoke about after his passing, people are assuming that because he accidentally posted his address on social media when he was in Los Angeles, some possibly these suspects found where he was and murdered him. Yeah. So
5
that's
niggas
some good
though.
news.
Jesus. Ugh.
Like what? I don't know.
That is just so much.
It's just really ridiculous and sad, and I'm hoping at least that has brought like some sort of comfort to his family. Meanwhile, also in Pop Smoke news, the Drake Pusha T beef has been reignited by way of Pop Smoke's album.
What?
This was so weird.
Why?
So, great question. Completely valid question.
Is one of them on his album?
So apparently Pusha T was on a song that was, I guess, in consideration for Pop Smoke's album, a song that also shared features with Young Thug and Gunna. And in Push's verse, he takes some shots at Drake. I'm not even going to repeat what he says. It's not hard to find the verse or whatever. Basically, you know, I fucking hate your guts and I'm going to go move somewhere very close to you. Threatening intimidation. That's what it is. So, the song leaked. It didn't make the album. Most likely because of that. And it was later leaked anyway, so that Black Twitter could have their fun. After it came out, Young Thug got on his IG story and typed super fast, probably with acrylics. And it says here, I don't respect the Pusha T verse on the song with me and Gunna because I don't have nothing to do with y'all beef, nor does Gunna. And if I knew that was about him, I would have made changes on our behalf. This rapper shit's so gay.
What? We still doing that?
He had more. I didn't know there was a clip that he said more.
Your verse 7 days, if you know what I mean. I'm up for a week. Second of all, you already went crazy the first time, so you ain't even got to. Ain't nothing but a sucker going on double takes.
All right, I'm fine. I don't need the one. Right. Everybody's so bored. Oh my God. Anyway,
so bored.
Pusha T responded to Young Thug on a story of his own. Thank you very much. And it says here, hey, Young Thug, with him added in it. Couple things. : 1. Don't feel bad. Nobody knew what the verse was about. The label heads that stopped it didn't even know. They only assume because he told them. He told is in all caps.
Ooh, the feelings.
The same way he told about the Ross Maybach 6 verse. And if he'll tell record executives about rap verses, Pusha T, why don't you put the O and the U in about? Like, I thought maybe it's you have room.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why people do that. It's one of the abbreviations I hate.
This is 2 additional letters.
Yeah,
It's
I've given up trying to understand why they do that.
God only knows what else he'll tell. I don't deal in police work, police rappers, or police niggas.
What?
Like, with the temperature of everything going on right now, do we need to make this kind of comparison?
I really
to police?
don't think so.
Because they're doing actually damaging shit.
Right.
Whereas Drake is just being petty if you're telling the truth.
Right.
2 at Young Thug. You are the last verse added to the song, and that's only because I requested you! 3, and most important at Young Thug, just so we are clear, ellipses, I would never look or need your respect for what it is I bring to this rap game. Then he says, at Steven Victor, which I believe is Pop Smoke's manager, and I think also EP on the album, I demand you take me off the deluxe at Real Pop Smoke album to avoid any confusion that may take away from this amazing body of work. Cliff note, I couldn't find a deluxe album. I don't think that there was a deluxe album that was released, unless it's maybe like an exclusive like physical copy or something like that. But again, I don't believe that your song was going to be included for obvious reasons. I don't think that you need to ask anybody to keep it off, because why in the cockle doodle fuck would you feel like this recently dead rapper's debut album was the time for you to take another shot at that light-skinned nigga?
Yeah.
If you wanted to diss him again, you could have just turned on IG Live, like you got on Instagram like you did for Young Thug, and performed the grinding beat with your hands on the kitchen table and just dissed him. You could have taken you could have saved that diss for your own individual shit. Why the fuck would you put that on Pop Smoke's album? For the fuck what? Whether Drake called somebody and told them to take it down or not, it should have just never been there, because why the fuck would you use that as an opportunity to take away from this guy's debut album?
Because
it's just corny.
Because niggas.
Because niggas.
Y'all really have got to, I mean, this is just so stupid. Again, y'all have got to find something to do.
My word. You both have kids. I'm sure they both want some Cheerios or something at the moment. Like, fuck.
Right. Some Paw Patrol. Like, you niggas need to go be dads and just leave us out of it. This is just ridiculous.
Niggas are so sensitive and weird and sensitive. And all of this is dumb.
Yeah.
And it's not even that I don't respect the competitive, braggadocious, egotistical nature of hip hop. That's what it is. You know what I mean? But like, how you would use this arena to go there, I don't understand. And then to talk about, I demand you take me off the deluxe album.
Nigga.
Sis, don't worry about it. The album's been out and you weren't on it.
Right.
So
like, calm yourself.
What are we doing here
really
besides
did not
being
need
strange?
all this. Once again, hobbies would come in handy here.
So last but not least, very special Red Table Talk took place recently. The one we were waiting for. One Jada Pinkett Smith sat legs crossed across from the red table. Was Will Smith. Both of them looked like they'd rather be anywhere else.
Yep.
Especially William.
Especially Will. Will looked tired and over it.
And yeah, they basically decided to spend about 13 minutes discussing the August Alsina Jada Will situation. I don't even know if it's fair to call it a triangle. Whatever.
Right.
through this situation, Jada also gave niggas their new favorite word, which is entanglement. And loads of niggas been having fun with that. And hopefully actually looked up the definition.
I did like the music. I like the songs you niggas made from the clips.
Oh, well, you know, that's step one. Right. That's like Black Twitter, like 101.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically what I gathered from the situation that I watched was that Will and Jada were in a rough spot and felt as though they may have been done for good. They separated at some point in their separation. Miss Jada was fucking with August Alsina. And at some point, all of that ended. Will and Jada found a way to cohabitate, coexist, and love one another again. And now we are here in the situation that we are in. Now, sprinkled along that very basic summary of the story is, you know, a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood shit that they needed to unpack as individuals, a lot of shit that they needed to figure out on their own. Yeah. And what I found, like the stuff that I sort of like latched onto as key pieces of everything was Jada talking about how she wanted to feel good and she felt like she could really help August. Mm-hmm. You know, he needed help with his health when the family met him and stuff like that. And so he was probably not only great sex, but a project for her to sort of help to heal and build up and feel, you know, needed. Because I mean, you know, Will and Jada have been famous for about the same time. Will was like, or is, I don't know, one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. I know that he at least was the highest paid actor in Hollywood at least a couple of years ago and still is one of the highest. You know, so like, not to say that he's perfect or doesn't have his own shit that he needs to work on, but I'd imagine, you know, like versus an August Alsina or someone a bit younger who's got like their own layers of trauma and shit that you feel like you can help them with, that probably just made her feel like needed and important and relevant and whatever the fuck in that situation. And Will was very clearly livid with her. I don't know, like they didn't even really get into like where they were or why they were in the position they were in that caused them to separate, and they didn't need to. It was kind of irrelevant, but they're at the very least very good friends. They seem to have like a mutual respect and love for one another. Whether there's intimacy or there or not is their business. But again, like none of this is like that scandalous to me because we kind of knew, like I remember when rumors came out more than once about Will and Jada being separated, about to get divorced, la. When Jada was messing with August, they weren't doing it in the shadows. They were stepping out together and taking pictures and selfies and stuff. So like all of this stuff was discussed as it was happening. We're just sort of getting confirmation about it now. Mm-hmm. You know, so for me, it was like, I know that at the end of the day, that's a nigga from Philly. This is a chick from Baltimore. Like, we're getting the evolved, worked on, you know, I got shit to lose version of all this stuff. In the moment when there was no red table and no red cameras and everything else was going on, I'm sure there was some furniture moving going on. And that's probably why so much of the internet is having a blast with it, because it reminds y'all of y'all. It reminds y'all of y'all parents and your relationship. For real. Like, like it does. They're imperfect. Like, it's what, you know, it reminds many of us of just regular, normal ass mess and tea that we talk about all of the time, and like the nerve of a Will and Jada to be going through it, as well, and it shit looks like that. But
just like y'all's dysfunctional marriages, so niggas are holding on to it. I actually watched the whole episode of Red Table Talk, and I knew they wasn't really gonna say a whole lot when I saw it was only 12 minutes long. I was like, okay, we're not getting too deep into this. And I noticed a few things. First, that they both emphasized over and over the timing of this. It was like they didn't want to come right out and say August is just trying to get his album sales up or whatever, but they kept bringing up, this was so long ago. Don't understand why it's coming up now. Like, this was 4.5 years ago. I'm like, okay, we get it. Like, it's old. Okay.
And she says, she claims that she hadn't spoken to August since things ended and that he cut off communication with her. Mm-hmm. And
which I would also
believe. I do too. Will also said at some point that all of this stuff about how they had said this and they had said that or whatever, like they purposely didn't speak to anybody about it at all until that interview. Yeah. Which told me that the whole thing about him getting his August getting Will's blessing was not true, and that when the news said that that he denied that may not have been true either.
Yeah.
So I don't know, my nigga. So like, you know what it felt like to me? It felt like when you're like at a cookout, your family cookout, reunion, whatever the fuck, and you at the table with your day ones, you know, the people that you know that you can trust and get drunk and have a good time with, and they not full of mess. Y'all playing usually Uno, spades, or dominoes, and then out of nowhere, you hear a clang and a crash, and you look over, and 2 to 3 of your cousins and maybe an aunt and uncle are getting in some kind of argument over what you don't fucking know, but you knew it was only a matter of time. And then 2 of them storm off and they don't come back. And then you're just like, you sip from your red cup and then you drop a drop more. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, it literally just felt like extended members of my family got into some mess and I didn't need to be a part of it. The whole shit was so cringe.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I just thought Will looked extremely annoyed, really, more than anything else. Yeah. Like, annoyed that his name is on the blogs for this, annoyed that they even have to address it because it's gotten so fucking big, annoyed that Jada didn't make that nigga sign an NDA, annoyed that, like, when he said, oh, I'm gonna get you back, and she was like, I think you already have, and then he was like, like, at first he laughed at it, and then he was like, I mean, but
yeah, the interview was full of that. Yeah, the interview was full of that, especially from him. It was like very much like, I believe that you love this woman and you're gonna do what you gotta do to protect her and look out for her. She the mother of your kids, et cetera. But at the very like, I totally believe that interview was done and they shut off them lights and stuff like that, and it was like rough. Yeah, like, I feel like that's gonna take some like actual getting back into a Zoom with a therapist and talking about all this bullshit that this young man has brought to their front door or whatever, because they thought they had put it to bed.
Yeah, probably so. And the one thing I was expecting that I didn't see was Jada acknowledging that, like, her taking this relationship with August to a sexual level was inappropriate and not something she should have done. Like, she gave us the reasoning behind it, how she's codependent and she always needs to fix somebody because of her childhood shit. And, you know, really went into that. And I'm like, that's great. But like, where is even though I was codependent and, you know, dealing with my own shit, I had no business turning myself from like somebody who came into this man's like, and she said it from the beginning. When they met August, he was like deeply hurt, deeply sick. Yeah. And she came into his life as like a healer type person. So I just expected her to be like, and so it was super fucked up. I should have never had an affair with August Alsina. Like, I should have kept them boundaries drawn regardless, but I didn't. So
she also said like how she would feel like helping other people, I guess, heal or get their shit together was somehow going to heal her or whatnot. And like, she was doing all of that, you know, working on this person rather than doing the work on herself and stuff like that. But I totally agree with you that there did feel like there was like a lack of accountability in a couple of places that, again, I don't need, you know, I don't know y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I do agree with you that there is some stuff that could have probably been addressed in that way. Especially since it's super clear that the reason August has expressed this like hurt over that relationship ending and stuff like that is because you apparently changed his life and helped to pull him out of something that was really fucking him up, really, hurting him or whatever. And on top of that, you're Jada fucking Pinkett.
Right.
And you find, that was probably
you
heartbreak.
You put that pussy on him. It was too much.
You know what I mean?
Too much, girl. You can't be doing all that. And I mean, it's interesting that he talked about it and he was like, I could die tomorrow now that I've experienced real love and all this. And she was basically just like, I needed to feel good. Real bad. I needed it real bad. It's like, damn, you were this huge impact in this man's life. Sound like you were like his first meaningful love and all this. And to him, to you was like just a bridge to reconciling with your husband. So.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. When I finished it, thank you. I was like, so August Alsina was a rebound.
Yep.
And he didn't really understand that or whatever. Maybe he's still kind of having trouble understanding that. Maybe she didn't even understand that when it was fucking happening.
He's still broken.
That was the situation that it was. Right. You know what I mean? And it's very clear and everything. And I feel like even if she didn't say anything at all, it would have been clear that they were on completely different pages or understandings of what that relationship was. And then she probably did not do a good enough job of clearing whatever the fuck up for him. But it did feel like in that interview, they kind of wanted to just get out whatever they felt like was the necessity and to just keep
and then
they didn't want to they didn't want to be too detailed, which whatever. I mean,
I get it because on the one hand, this is my private life and I didn't invite you into this particular business. And so I'm very fucking annoyed that somebody else brought you into my business. But on the other hand, it was also August's business. And, you know, maybe he would have said something even if he did sign an NDA. You don't know. Niggas sometimes don't give a shit about paperwork. No. So, even if you did, it just... it is what it is. Jada and Will just wanted to get through the red table and be fucking done with that. I'm sure they don't want to revisit this no more.
But like I said last week, I felt like if anybody could have had this conversation, I don't see why it wouldn't have been then. The red table talk has already been this whole situation where you sit down and attempt to have in-depth, sometimes tough conversations with all kinds of people and sort of lead conversations on stuff that may be considered progressive, whether in the Black household or not, or whatever. So it's again, none of this really sounded that scandalous to me. You know what I mean? It feels that way because they're celebrities, you know what I mean? And oh my goodness, and they did the whole bad marriage for life shit at the end or whatever. So it's of course the internet's gonna have its fun with it and stuff, but it didn't seem like it was that deep or that scandalous that it needed to have this analyzed way that you would converse with it. I'm not talking, obviously I'm not talking about how big his fucking dick is or anything gratuitous and ridiculous, but it just seemed like it was definitely something they never wanted to talk about, and they wanted to just get it over with and never ever go back to that conversation again, which I get.
Right. When they started talking about when Will was saying, it's a special kind of love and it's this unconditional love and all this, that's where I was like, oh, you niggas are losing me, because I don't believe in unconditional love for romantic partners at all. There is always a line you can cross that will get me right the fuck on out of here. But I'm also not bonded to somebody that I met when I was young. We both are incredibly famous, living our lives in a public eye, dealing with all of our own shit. I don't have this, however long their relationship is, I don't have this, we healed our trauma with each other kind of bond with somebody. And so I don't think that's something I'm even capable of doing. But if they are happy with what they are calling, their bad marriage in a joking way or whatever, then I'm happy for them. It could not be me, but I'm happy for y'all.
Unfortunately, the mess didn't end there because after I guess it was the red table thing was finished, Keke Palmer tweeted, "The theme is boundaries. Everybody doesn't need to know your business. That's not fake. It's honoring one's privacy." Then she tweeted, "Protect your partner, protect your privacy, protect your peace." Then one of you ignorant ass niggas sent her a fucking tweet with a picture of her and August Alsina in a car together that says, "This you?" And Keke retweeted it and said, "Yes, girl. August was never my man. LOL. That's why you're still reaching to this day to figure out nothing."
A Virgo.
And for whatever reason, August Alsina retweeted Keke Palmer and said, "You absolutely right. I was never your man. You could possibly never, shorty. It seems you got It seems you mad you got curved, but your friends are the reason for that. They showed me an endless thread of text pics of me that you sent, worried about who I date, and begged me. It is like,
okay.
It is like manual labor trying to get through this fucking shit. Like, I feel like I worked I can't. And worried about who I date and begged me not to further disturb your mental instability. Imagine not knowing how to mind the business that pay you. I catch all the subliminals, not just about today.
What?
And you can call me whatever you like. Mess is constantly inserting yourself in topics you have none to do with. Go play with your mammy, not me. If you have anything to say it with your chest, kids. It's always very perplexing because I real deal be showing people genuine love whole time. That envy eating your little heart anyway. Next. Now, I believe wholeheartedly that all of those tweets were ghostwritten by a hairdresser. Whose hairdresser, which hairdresser, don't know, don't care. But it was just like the fervor, the fever. It doesn't,
I mean, I just don't, the whole you could possibly never, sweetie, that's where I first got confused. Cause it's like,
she didn't even say nothing bad about you.
Right. It's like, she didn't actually say nothing negative. She didn't drag you or nothing like that. And also, do you think that like, you are not on Keke Palmer's lover or something? Like, is she not fine enough for you? What is it? Cause I would love to know what the rationale was behind that particular line, but I mean,
she seems to be doing quite fine. I'm sure she's got niggas in her DMs as well. So I don't know exactly what he was. But again, this is after he likely watched a 13-minute interview where these niggas dapped each other up and basically said, don't know what's wrong with that nigga. That's old news. We don't even care about that fuck shit no more. While he basically was teared up with Angela Yee about how heartbroken he was or whatever. Right. So he was already deep in his fifis. And Miss Keke Palmer, I guess, just upset him for whatever reason by responding to mess with clarity. And then she posted a photo on Instagram with a caption that says, I want to be mean, but I can't. I want to post screenshots, but I won't. I feel attacked, but it's not about me. It's about so much more than that. And as much as I want to defend myself against the disrespect I have received, because I mean, I'm not nice all the time. That was funny to me.
Yes.
This is about something so much bigger. I wouldn't feel good kicking someone when they are down because it's so easy to tackle when you're in a corner. I get it. People be hurting y'all, and most of the time it has nothing to do with you. I can't fuck up my karma worried about my ego, though I'm human and I have one.
Now that's
just know I am.
Word. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you're right. Just know I am that bitch despite what my humility may make one believe. I don't have to beg or be thirsty for a damn thing because my talent speaks louder than my looks. Jesus today. Let the cheek be turned, poos. My character is too strong. What a read.
Oh, yeah, because the Aquila and the Beehive went after his ass immediately. They was not having that shit. Like, nigga.
That was...
Don't do Kiki now. Do not do Kiki. They was not...
That was a Met Gala train garden.
Okay. Like, you and your feelings because of Jada, and I get it, but like... Be careful who you directing all that vitriol at, my nigga. We're not having it over here. Oh, that was some real shit because I would have really struggled with whatever she has, pictures, screenshots, whatever. If it were me, I would have struggled mightily not to post that shit.
Yeah.
But
and for all of them, like... Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that was like a really mature response of her to be like, this nigga's hurting and it actually don't have nothing to do with me. So let me not let my ego react. Exactly. I'm like, okay, that is some grown woman shit. Cause I understand the urge to be like, let me just go ahead on Instagram stories and post, like just that easy.
I totally agree. I feel like, for all of the shit and the jokes I've given to Keke Palmer, like that's absolutely a testament to the type of person that she is.
Yep.
Because I feel like most of us likely would have just
real quick.
Exhibit A, here's Exhibit B. Here you can find C through H.
Wouldn't have even blacked out the phone number. Would have been like, all this you, and this is you as well.
If you turn to the glossary that I've made here in the back, you can find like absolutely would have lined his shit up. It takes like a legit amount, especially again, because like I don't even understand like too much of the mindset of being like a celebrity who any old thing randomly could be this whole thing for your whole day or 2-3 days or a week or whatever, where people are just saying whatever the fuck to you and stuff like that. And I know that a lot of that has to do with why sometimes people react the way that they do on social media, even if it's not the best idea.
Yeah.
So for that nigga to have come out of nowhere to you when you didn't do anything to him, and you allegedly or possibly have like photographic evidence to get him together after he disrespected you, and talked about your mammy. Like, you gotta be a special motherfucker. You gotta be different and be like, actually, I would rather pray for him. And I encourage that you pray for him as well.
Yeah. It takes an emotionally mature person to say, you're upset right now and it really don't have nothing to do with me. So I'm going to just let you have your feelings. Go with God.
I would have lined his ass up.
Okay.
Like
okay. I would have really struggled, Fred. I would have really...
Like, bitch, I didn't even do nothing. You didn't even mad at me.
The group chat would have been lit the fuck up. Like, somebody stop me. Somebody literally changed my password so that I cannot flame this nigga. But, you know, Keke Palmer is clearly grown and in a good space. So good for her.
Good for her. All right. So before we end, I just wanted to send love to the family and friends of Naya Rivera. And that story is like, I feel like it just punched me directly in the middle of my face when I read the update earlier today. So it's incredibly sad and tragic. I'm glad that her son is safe, and I pray for him to get healing or any kind of help or therapy that, you know, he possibly needs. But yeah, I just didn't want to end the Hot Topics without acknowledging that. And I just wanted to say, you know, hugs and love and prayers to everybody who's hurting.
Yeah, because it's a sad story. I read that like she used the last of her strength to get the baby back on the boat, and that just actually wrecked me. I was like, yeah. Anyway, rest in peace to Naya, and my prayers go out to all of her family, friends, all the people she's worked with. It's just another tragic occurrence in this tragic fucking year.
Like, what the fuck?
I don't even know.
What?
I don't even know.
What else?
It's so bad.
Like, I made the joke, I think, already about wanting to run out into the street like I Know What You Did Last Summer, where Jennifer Love Hewitt was like looking at the sky like,
yes,
what do you want from me? Come and get, like, that's how I honestly, that's how I feel. It's like, what the fuck else are we gonna do? Can't go nowhere because it's pandemic killing every motherfucking body. Black people being lynched and motherfuckers trying to use any kind of corner or excuse to try and invalidate or mock the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
Jobs lost, people suffering, all kinds of motherfucking bullshit going on in the world. And it's like, that's why I started doing this bullshit at the end where I'm like, well, yeah, my dog farted and it made me smile. Because I literally had to like, I had to start noting things that actually have made me happy these past few months. The world is shit.
It is.
Well, we'll take a break now and pay a bill, and then we're going to come and read your letters because I'm sure one of y'all got some nigga that you shouldn't be with or whatever the fuck. So let's just get it over with. Hey, y'all. So here we are in the throes of summer. And personally, I have been using this as an opportunity to, you know, look at my wardrobe and start asking myself hard questions. How much of this stuff do you actually need? Don't you think it would be nice to start picking out some cute new stuff and maybe donate some of that old stuff that you don't wear anymore? And ThredUp has been a really great help in that situation because they're the world's largest online thrift store, first of all, and they've got 90% off estimated retail, second of all. There you go. I love online shopping of all kinds, regardless of whatever it is, because I can foolishly spend money and don't have to leave the comfort of my home to do it. And I also love thrift stores. So this is just a meeting of both of those things. It's fantastic. You can shop from over 45,000 brands from all kinds of things, women's clothing, kids clothing, handbags, shoes, all kinds of stuff. Great labels as well, or brands. They've got Nike, they've got Zara, they've got J. Crew, they've got a ton of stuff. New arrivals are every minute. There's always something amazing at threadup.com. You can shop online and customize your search by your size, your style, your budget, all kinds of things. And you'll find items that are in high quality condition when they get to you. Sometimes they even still have the tags on them. So it's good stuff. It's a great thing to do to pass the time, get you a cute sundress, some shit, girl.
Yes, exactly. Because even though I'm not going nowhere, I do still need summer clothes, and it's no point in spending big dollars on them when I'm not going nowhere. So ThreadUp is really perfect for getting your wardrobe together at a much lower cost. You can get the styles you love at a fraction of the price and look and feel good with ThreadUp. That's right. You got an exclusive offer. You can get 30% off your first order when you go to threadup.com/read. That's threadup.com, threadup.com/READ for 30% off your first order. Terms to apply, but go check them out and get you something nice for a low price. All right, let's get back to the show.
Okay, we're back, and it is now time for your listener letters.
Yes, it is. Send your questions to asktheread@gmail.com. We may just read them aloud on the show. This first question comes from Goody, who says, I would love to hear your thoughts on Steven Universe. I started watching it because you two talked about it and I fell in love with the show. Goody is talking about Steven Universe Future because I just finished it. So I've rewatched the Future season so many times over quarantine and I cry like I've never seen it before every single time. You never see this type of development in a cartoon. It was so good. Please discuss. Thanks, Goody. So as y'all know, I was saving Steven Universe Future because it's the last of Steven Universe that we're gonna get for a while, if ever. And I just did not want it to end. But things are bad enough emotionally that I finally broke down and watched it, and I too had a very similar reaction. It was one episode in particular, I want to say episode 19, where I just fucking lost it and basically cried for the entire 13 minutes. Like I just could not handle it. But
I don't remember which one that was.
The whole it was Steven being the monster and everybody trying to figure out how to get him to
okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Right. So
right.
It was just like when Connie was like, the only person who's never had Steven is Steven. I was just like, okay, well, why don't you just fucking slap me in the face, Rebecca Sugar, with your fucking feelings. It was a lot, but as always, a phenomenal job done on this story. And I just loved where they took it. I love that we saw Steven being unlikable, unreasonable. We saw him like doing things that he would have never done before, hurting people and beings in a way that he would have never done. And also just the way that if you feel like nobody can ever see the ugly side of you, eventually that side is going to be something you cannot control, something you can't tame if you can't ever talk about it. So it was just
Steven was like
so beautiful.
He really was, with himself and his mom and himself. He was.
Not a fucking entanglement. Oh my God. When Greg took him back to his parents' house and they had this whole conversation and Steven was like, well, actually your childhood sounds great. Like I wish I had, parents who would have done this type of shit for me. And it don't make no sense that I'm 16 years old and just now going to the doctor for the first time and all that stuff. I was like, you just never get to see shit like this. So, but yes, it certainly was an entanglement with his own feelings and his parents, like most of us are. Yes.
Yeah. It was really brilliant how well that show sort of seams together these subjects and themes and still turns out this great animated, heartfelt, funny, bright show. It just has these moments where it has really important conversations in really impactful ways. It doesn't feel like pandering either. It doesn't feel condescending. It doesn't feel fake. It feels like real shit that I've never seen take the lengths that that show did, especially in the Future saga.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of that in animated shows. And I just think that it's probably going to be, if it already has been, I'm sure, but it will probably continue to be something that will be very helpful for a lot of young people and even adults that see bits of themselves in it and like some of the stuff that each of those characters go through. Because it's not even just Steven. Like, Steven, of course, endured his own forms of trauma, and like Future is so centered around him kind of doing the Jada thing, which is what I said in Tangled.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of like so focused on trying to fix everybody and help everybody else and get everybody else's shit together, and everybody's kind of like, we're good. like we have help, you know what I mean? We have like adequate stuff. Like, you can chill. Like, you don't have to be so focused on fixing and healing everybody else. And that eventually led him to this realization that he had his own shit that he needed to work on and heal from and stuff like that. And I've just never seen it executed and visualized so beautifully and so colorfully. And yeah, I think Rebecca Sugar and everybody else over there should be really proud of the show that they made. And I'm sad that it's over, but I'm also not, because it is great that they just ended it where they felt like we're done telling this story, rather than just cranking out additional seasons and waiting for it to jump the shark or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I love when people end something when they know it's, at a good place and they know what they want to do with it and all that. So just once again, all of my respect and adoration for literally everyone involved with this show. It's just good from top to bottom. The the voice actors, the writers, the animators. It's just so good every time. So thank you.
And if you just finished Steven Universe and are like, oh, wholesome animated fun I want more of it in my life, and you've never watched Avatar The Last Airbender, Avatar The Last Airbender, it is on Netflix. A lot of the girls are like, Fairy, Netflix has Avatar now. It's got the Avatar Last Airbender. And I wanted to say Netflix had Avatar The Last Airbender because that's how I watched it originally. And then for whatever reasons, licensing and paperwork and shit, they took it off. So Netflix actually has gotten The Last Airbender back. In the meantime, I purchased The Last Airbender, the whole series, on Blu-ray, while you bitches always motherfucking making fun of me for catching up on Best Buy and Target sales and ordering Blu-ray and 4K shit on the motherfucking internet and doing all the shit for the things that I like. Oh, why you spend on? You can just buy it digitally. You can just stream it. No, you can't, bitch, because when they decide that they don't want me to have it no more, it's gone. So you catch up.
That's true. The downside to streaming is you don't own that shit. Even if you save it to your device, that is not yours. They can always take it away. So
period. But
so that's smart of you. But it's funny to me that you brought that up, because there's another question in the inbox about Avatar asking if I'm going to watch it now that I'm done with Steven Universe. So now that you've said that and this other person has made the connection, I'm like, all right, I guess that's what's next.
The whole series is three seasons, and each season is 10 episodes, and they're a half hour long. It's not going to take you long to get through.
So it's nice and short. All right. Yeah, I think.
And then you can watch The Legend of Korra, which is like the sequel / successor to Avatar. And that one stars a woman, and it's got some, I don't want to spoil it. It's just good. Just watch it. It's also not long.
Okay. If you say so, I will.
Yes, they're good shows.
I think I will. Steven Universe, incredible. If you haven't started watching it,
fantastic.
Please
show.
do. An incredible show.
Literally fucking flawless.
Okay, let's move on. Our next question comes from this is from Al. Al says, I'm a 24-year-old black man, and I work in law enforcement in a relatively conservative city.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Okay. I am not a tap dancer or a coon like some other black people I work with. I've never penalized anyone for possessing or selling marijuana. I've helped people with job assistance, finding housing, and even taking people on my off duty to job interviews. I wanted to work in the criminal justice system because I thought the best way to make change was from the inside. But now I am starting to think otherwise. A lot of the white people I work with are having their true colors showing, as well as some of the black people. Huh. Like one of these motherfuckers looked at me and told me that I am one of the good ones. Yikes. I wanted to quit right then and there, but I brushed it off because I know that all that will happen is nothing except a closer look into how I perform my job. Oh, you must have meant if you reported it. Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, should I quit this oppressive job or stick it out and hopefully one day be able to make a real change, even if that chance isn't very likely? Thanks, Al.
Al.
Yikes.
Al.
Is that a Married with Children voice?
No.
Oh.
But that's actually a good point. I didn't even think of that. It was this episode of Golden Girls where Rose's boyfriend named Al walked out on her ass because she said she was bored with his ass. And she was like, Al! Al! And every time I hear that name, that's what I think. I'm sorry.
I'm going through all of Golden Girls right now. I'm at like season 5, episode 20 or something.
Fucking treat.
Yeah, I'm mostly through it at this point. And honestly, still pretty good. I mean, there's a lot more cringy ass moments for me as an adult, but overall, yeah, I am enjoying it. But anyway, Al.
Yeah, my nigga, I'm not gonna act like I feel like you should do anything but leave that bullshit. I'm sorry, I'm not. And like, typically, you know, I'm all for like, girl, you got to get your coins, and you got to. I'm not even mad at you, sis, because what else they expect us to do? It's not like we got all the options in the world, girl, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
I just personally, I don't know how you could do it. I don't know how you could do it. You know what I mean? Like, with everything that's going on, and then the bullshit that you're already talking about that you're dealing with firsthand, like from black people and non-black people. I don't care. One of the good ones? What the fuck are you talking about? And that type of stuff is like expected. I know that you're one of countless black cops that probably feel the exact same way and sit down and shut the fuck up because they need a job or whatever the fuck. And they know that if you even scrawl a B near an L, near an M, anywhere, it's a giant red target on your forehead and back. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. I feel like me personally, I would just try to find something else to do. I'm not going to say how dare you or whatever if you decide to keep your job or whatever, but my nigga, this isn't like working at Walmart or some heinous other, you know, like some corporation that's like notoriously fucking disgusting.
Right.
That I would be like, well, I mean, you gotta like feed yourself and your kids and blah, 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 blah. Like, the American police force is, like, honestly, in my opinion, one of the worst things in existence.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. And dedicated to remaining that. So.
Right. Like, the thing about policing in America is that it is racist at the very core. And
I mean, deep in the soil.
Yeah. A lot of black cops think, you know, well, I just want to be the one to make some change and all this.
Right.
And it is true that, you know, in any one given circumstance, you might be able to affect one person, which is, it is what it is. But if you think you're going to make structural changes to policing by being employed there, you are sorely mistaken. It is not going to happen.
Fucking
right.
Luck.
I can't in good conscience tell anybody to be a police officer, but I also
can't do it.
Right. I cannot say yes, you should keep this job, but I also can't say, yeah, quit your job without having another one and, you know, just pray your bills get paid and you don't get evicted or whatever. Like, we can't really tell you what to do with your career, but if you're feeling conflicted about it and you're like, wow, these white people, like, the shit is really coming out now and people are letting go of all the pretense and the smiles and we're seeing the real racism creep out. If you see that and you notice that happening around you, then it's, what I will say is that no job and no check is worth your mental health and your good sanity. Not a single one. And so if these people are going to drive you the fuck crazy, or if you know that they are doing heinous things as part of your organization, like the fact that it's like Kid Fury said, it's not just some other job. It's not a regular job at all. Like, this is the type of situation where police just, it's not something that I can be a part of and sit back while other people do these heinous things on behalf of this organization I'm a part of. Like, I just could not, I don't think I would be able to rest very well. So if you want to get started on like an exit plan, I think that's best. You don't have to be like, fuck all you crackers in some big group text, but start making your moves, start stacking your money, start putting out interviews, or what is it? It's been so long. It's applications.
Mama forgot what a job app was.
See, now watch me in 6 months be trying to work at fucking Starbucks.
Because look, I'm not above none of this shit, honey.
I'm not above not one fucking thing, girl. I damn sure
Never
will
know
go clock in and make y'all's fucking frappuccino.
Hello?
Sure will, bitch. But anyway, like,
ever in life,
you can start making moves to get yourself on out of there. But like, you see it now, sir. You see it now. And you can trust that things are not going to get any better before they get much, much worse. So if I were you, I would start plotting on my exit right damn now. And I'm glad that
I totally agree.
You are a cop who is, trying to actually help people when you come across them. But you as one cop, you are not all of cops, and you are not indicative of what policing is like in this country. So if I were you,
I'm sure, like I said, there's so many Black cops that also feel like I'm going to be a part of something that is going to like change the idea and like in the landscape of all of this. It's like, that's great. And kudos to you. And maybe, there's lots of Black police in certain communities that have, done real great work in schools or whatever in the community, and they're that one face that whatever people know that they but that's not going to
Calvin.
It's not going to it's not going to address none of the fucking shit that we're trying to get done. It's not going to, it's just way bigger than that. Like you said, it's just at the root, deep down in the soil. It's so too much blood on too many hands to just be like, yeah, girl, this not good. You can probably. I totally agree with Crystal that like I wouldn't be like deuces with no plan,
right?
Because that's just not smart or safe for you. Or if you have a family, it's definitely not smart or safe. So I agree. I would definitely start putting together some sort of an exit plan, because it's just time for motherfuckers to get it. It's time. I know that they keep trying to address, statues and the Washington Redskins that were like, fine, god damn, fine. like they're trying to like address all this shit that niggas would talk about for decades and decades and stuff. But like, if you just do basic research into how policing even began in this country and shit like that, it just all starts to make sense and sew together. And it's just, it's time for something different to happen.
If I were a police officer, I would be like the bitch doing the absolute least to still get a check. Like most of the Black people I know who have been in law enforcement, that's why they were there, for a fucking check and for some benefits. And that was that. So, but good luck to you as you figure out what you're going to do next. But you had to know that emailing us, we was not going to be like, oh yeah, remain on the force. Maybe you can convince the whites to be better. Because no, that's not going to happen.
I mean, it's cute that you tried it out.
I mean, you're only 24, so you probably really, you was just big-eyed and just so full of optimism, and child, that is not how it works. So
they'd never tell me to quit this job. In this economy?
Right. With this shit going on, child. But anyway.
I couldn't do it.
All right. Our next question comes from Nina, who says, when my wife and I first met, I made it very clear that I was bisexual and not one of those little I'm gay just for you straight girls that she had the tendency of dating. It didn't seem to be a problem then, but now that we're married, she sometimes gets the question, so does this mean that she's a lesbian now, or is she still bisexual? My studsman, which I love that word. My studsman said it's embarrassing to her because me saying that I'm bi implies that I still want to be with niggas. I, on the other hand, don't understand why I have to redefine my sexuality simply because people can't wrap their mind around the fact that I can be bi and not want anyone other than my wife.
Right.
While sexuality is private and it shouldn't matter anyway, do y'all think I should take on the label of lesbian to make my studsman feel more comfortable? Girl! Please let me know what you think. Thanks, Nina.
Tell that nigga to calm the fuck down and get the fuck out the group chat.
So
what
quick.
The fuck is wrong with us?
So quick.
No. If you're like, I can't say that I don't understand, because
Thanks.
I know that there's like an insecurity for some gay, queer people or whatever when they date someone who identifies as bisexual or like pansexual or whatever. You know, it's just like, to you, that means that there's some door open for them to walk out and leave your ass at some point because they may meet someone who, you know, doesn't have the same body or anatomy or identity as you.
Right.
And it's like, just because you are attracted to men doesn't mean that you're going to cheat on your wife, or that your wife is somehow or at some point going to feel like not enough, you know? And it's really insecurity here. It makes literally no sense for you to like take on a label to appease your wife's insecurity. That's none of your business.
Right.
Like, you really don't need to take on a label at all. Like, I hate to go like super hippie with it because like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, this is how I identify, but you don't have to define who or what you're attracted to. You know, like, you can just be attracted to both sexes or no sex or everything or whatever the fuck it is.
All the genders or whatever.
Right. And still be like, at the end of the day, I'm married and I'm all in it with you. That it doesn't.
That's really it. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why when people hear bisexuality, they hear double the opportunities for somebody to cheat. But like,
yes.
First of all, bisexuals are not into literally everybody.
Right.
First of all. And secondly, just because somebody is bisexual does not mean they're going to cheat. And it's kind of, I really don't know where that correlation came from. I don't know if it was just like, you hoes are greedy, which is something I definitely heard a lot in like the 90s and early 2000s. If I had to guess,
I was just going to say that shit too. And I was going to say, if I had to guess, it has to have trickled down from this idea that when you're discussing like queer people, gay people, whatever, that it all links down to sex, sexuality, sexual arousal, and that kind of thing, rather than just attraction. That's what I would think. Because like you just said, like a lot of people would say that bisexual people are greedy. And it's not just that like I'm always actively seeking sex with like, you know, this sex and that one. It's just that like I can recognize that this person is sexually attractive to me. I'm so sorry that my chair keeps bumping this table. My like this gender or whatever is attractive to me, that one is, and that's it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to meet someone that you want to spend the rest of your life with and be monogamous with if that's whatever it is that you're looking for. It's just that like your sexuality has different boundaries than the next person, or wider boundaries, or whatever the fuck. It's just as simple as that. It's like, I can recognize that this bitch bad, that one bad, that nigga, like whatever. It's just that. But sounds like your studsman is just trying to make sure that those cuffs are on tight.
Right. Like she's insecure because her friends are asking, but like, that's a stupid question for her friends to be asking. Why would my wife's sexuality have changed just because she's married now? That doesn't.
It makes no sense.
Does not make sense. And you would think, because I have spent so much time back when I had lesbian friends in Oklahoma, spent a lot of time around lesbians. And one of the big things for our community was like the whole, bisexual girls, you gotta be careful with bisexual girls. It's like, might as well date a straight one because they gonna leave, or they never marry women, bisexual all day long, but they never marry women, da 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 da. And so you would think y'all would be like, oh, like a bisexual woman who's comfortable in her sexuality and also like married to my homegirl. And so maybe I could just not be an ignorant fucking asshole about this. But no, like I personally don't care if people call me bisexual, pansexual, lesbian, just as long as you don't call me straight.
Right.
Just don't call me straight, because that's ugly. And God don't even want that for my life. But like, yeah. I would not mind either way. But if you care about those words, then be like, no, you cannot tell them that I am exclusively attracted to women, because I'm not, and kiss my ass.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that she likely could have a couple of Tommies and Coles.
She definitely do. Oh, she definitely do. They all got some ignorant ass friends.
Boosting her head up to think all kinds of dumb shit. Meanwhile, your motherfucking ass is just online trying to find something to cook this bitch when she get home from work or whatever the fuck. Like, not even think about no nigga. But her whole motherfucking, all her homies got her thinking that you about to be. Like, girl, if getting married to a bitch changed your sexuality to whatever the fuck, the Brittany Griner would not be in the situation she's in. She never would have been.
And every gay nigga who married a woman trying to hide it would have been successfully converted.
Right.
And would have had no problems, no inner turmoil from then on out. Like, that is just not how it fucking works. You still are who you are. So she married you knowing you were bisexual. If it's going to bother her that damn much, then, y'all going to have to talk about it. But it's just, I think it's up to you and how strongly you feel about those words.
And real love being a factor in this situation, then this shouldn't be something that she can't just figure out a way to get
right.
Whether it's like, you know what I'm saying, checking whichever one of her friends are boosting her up to think bullshit, whether it's, hitting up talk space or getting some other form of therapy to maybe unpack some stuff or whatever the fuck. But like, sis, what she's talking about is illogical. It shouldn't be an issue, and it's not even your problem. She kind of just needs to like accept the reality of the things and stop being like immature, to be honest.
Right. That is just biphobia. The assumption that I'm going to be out here in the streets. I mean, and it comes from people
erasure.
People who also be cheating. Like,
yeah,
these dykes be out here cheating. Straight niggas be out here cheating. Straight women be out here. Like, if you a cheater, then you just a cheater. If you not, then you not. And your sexuality really has nothing to do with that.
That's so true.
So
that's so true. Would it have been better if she was a straight person that just cheated on you with a girl then? Like,
right. Would you or would you prefer it if she did cheat to cheat on you with a woman? Would that make you like, those are her insecurities, but maybe I don't know. Maybe y'all just need like a reconnecting ass moment where it's like, babe, I'm not into nobody but you. And whatever Tommy and Cole said, it's some dumb shit. So like,
oh, you probably could get her some sort of an edible arrangement or an equivalent. Y'all be doing all kinds of romantic gestures and shit like that. And then say something out of a Ryan Gosling movie, and then y'all just, scissor it out and go to bed. And like, Meanwhile, these bi/straight girls that like studs be in relationships and shit like that with, like, they will argue over a nigga, yell when a nigga pull up to a nigga's house and stuff like that. But when they get into it with y'all,
listen,
will burn a county down to the soil.
Yes,
like, sweetie, you're fine. She's fine. Right. Get over it.
I think I told y'all how I broke into my first girlfriend's apartment.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. I shared that. So,
you broke the law.
I did. I broke the law and I broke her lock. I broke both of those things. But, that we were young. And 2 women, and I was losing it. So, but anyway, don't do that.
I didn't say any of that shit was good or bad.
Right? No,
I didn't say I was against it. I said if it
nobody's co-signing. I'm just saying, right? Like, shit can happen regardless. If y'all have a happy, safe, healthy relationship, then that should be really all that matters. So, hopefully, you can get through to your wife. You can play this for her, and she'll be like, "Okay, goddamn, I get it. I'ma stop," and that's the end of that. But best
she thought she was gonna put a ring on it, and all of a sudden you were just gonna stop.
You were gonna be like, I mean, and what difference does it make? Like, I still want you. I'm still attracted to you. So like, why does it matter?
And like, percentage statistic wise, like if it's niggas or your wife, odds are a nigga will remind you to just go home and be with your wife before you even get his number. So like she's like should chill.
Yeah. It's gonna be all right. Hopefully your wife can get over her hesitations there.
She better.
All right. I think that's going to wrap up the questions for this week. Send yours to asktheread@gmail.com, and we might as well move into the reads.
Yes, we're not going to stop for an ad this week because this administration has ruined the economy once again.
Yes, and we will have to stop doing the read soon because there's no more ads. So
vote.
I'm sorry. That's not funny.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I said that. Listen, so for me, I have like a very simple read. I don't even think that it should take long for real this time.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, so the Supreme Court, I think last week decided that it's totes okay for employers to deny contraceptive services for women and their insurance or whatever. And it's so okay to lean on religion as an excuse for that. I just wanted to say to the Fanta-colored fascist in the White House and anyone who agrees with this, that if you believe that it is okay for religious reasons or not to deny women birth control, contraceptive aid, or any of that kind of thing, and also you are anti-abortion, pro-life, whatever, I think it is time now in 2020, as real as life has been getting, for you to acknowledge that you are a Neanderthal and that it's probably best that you distance yourself from civilization so that we can get some much needed work done. I think that it's kind of time for you to admit that most of this has to do with money and also the fact that you don't respect women. You would rather us get back to a time where men just clubbed women over the heads and dragged them to, you know, whatever.
The cave.
Their caves that they lived in or whatnot. And just, you know, use them as baby farms and incubators, basically, because that's what you're telling me. That's the way I'm receiving this. And I'm not really able to make much sense of it. I don't know how many times, you know, people, specifically conservatives, can like, what's the word? Contradict themselves and like show what kind of hypocrites they are. But I just think that it's insane. It's ridiculous to tell women, well, no, we're not going to help you with like basic healthcare things.
Basics.
I mean, just very much street sidewalk level care. like the basic. We're not going to do anything, you know, of that nature for you. Also, if you get pregnant, gotta have it. Don't care how. Don't care what your situation is. Don't care. And we're not gonna help you take care of that baby. Don't really give a fuck what happens to the nigga, to be honest with you, but you will have it because we say so. I know as far as like politics go, it's a whole lot of Dr. Seuss ass bullshit going on and none of it makes any sense. And it gets more and more laughable as the days progress. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that that's just a rock and a hard place I can't stand in between. Like that's one set of bullshit that I gotta back up and let you niggas have and make sense of it yourself. Try to, you know, stick that square through a circle all you can.
Yeah.
But over here, and I acknowledge that I'm pretty dumb. I don't know many things, most things. But that's just one that's not going to add up for me because it literally doesn't make any fucking sense. And I just am so tired of the bullshit as time progresses and technology gets more and more significant and sophisticated and advanced. And we have less of a blockade in between basic truths as we did before. It's just harder to swallow a lot of these bullshit pills. Impossible, I'd say. And it almost makes it difficult to discern what is real life and what's Saturday Night Live. So
damn, that is true.
That's it. You know, it's like I do this little hopscotch dance myself when it comes to news, where I jump back and forth between my PlayStation, the news, my Nintendo Switch, the news, you know, running around with my dog, the new, you know, and I have sort of tried to step back for a while, especially with when the protests were heating up again and all of that, because personally, I don't feel like I'm built to be able to like debate with people a lot online, or even just see a lot of the bullshit takes from people, even when a lot of it is trolling or not, whatever. Like, you know, every time I do you know, do the Birdman hand rub, and I'm like, all right, let's see what the girls are talking about. I always walk away from that situation confused whether I should laugh or cry. So this is one where I did neither. I just shook my head and asked myself, when are we going to stop bullshitting? Like, because I honestly believe that a lot of these people could just say, we want to make women baby incubators, or we just don't want you to have the right to make any decision over your body, because as far as we men are concerned, your bodies are ours and you're going to do what we say to do. Like, I would just feel like you actually have the ability to do that. You like in the position to do that, because President Red Lobster basically does way worse every motherfucking day, or just that. And nobody says anything to him about it. So I don't know. The bullshit's annoying, and that's really all that I had to say.
It is. Did you see Trump talking about his cognitive test and how the doctors were like, wow, nobody has ever done the things that you've done on this like cognitive test or whatever? It's like, this nigga just literally will say anything. Do you really expect us to believe that you are of such incredible intelligence or whatever else that you just blew these doctors' minds with your agility and your nimble thoughts, nigga? I don't think so, sir. I cannot stand that nigga.
Where he talked about like what he was doing or prepping for tests in January or some shit like that. Some shit that was like blatantly false.
Right.
Like just one wide open lie. And I'm just like, it doesn't matter. It like ultimately it doesn't matter. We like at this point you either laugh at it, you cry, or you just stay away from it altogether. Yeah. None of it matters. That motherfucker could literally go out there and do like the Pokemon rap from the 90s and say that's how he plans on addressing, you know, police reform or whatever. And the Republicans will honestly just be like, well, what the fuck's the problem? He told you.
So you don't like Pokemon no more? Sounds like liberal.
Do you have a problem with Psyduck? Because personally, I love Meowth. Like, it's just like, what are we supposed to do? Like, you get hit with the most cartoonish, stupid shit, and they will act like it's sensible. And there's really no point I see in arguing with it a lot of times. But I'm a pessimist. So.
Yeah, no, and I mean, at this stage, who could possibly blame you? So, I think it's interesting that you just talked about the administration, because my read is also about the administration, in particular Betsy DeVos, who has got it on this show before several times, and I'm sure she will get it again. But
oh yeah,
this particular time, it has to do with the fact that this bitch runs the Department of Education. Still don't understand why.
Why?
But, right. We are now at a place where states are, especially the South, if you look at the map, the COVID cases are skyrocketing across the South, especially Florida. Christ Jesus, what is going on in Florida? Every day Florida breaks a new record. Florida has had more cases than like entire countries. I think like all of Italy. I feel like it has been. And when you look around the world and you see that so many other nations are getting back to normal. Taiwan is playing baseball like did nothing happen. New Zealand said, oh yeah, girl, we're actually COVID free, sis. Don't know what you girls are crying about. It's like, oh wow. So
and there's no reason that should be the case.
It is. I saw a tweet today that said Japan is more densely populated than America with a higher population of the elderly. And yet they have had like 1,000 cases of COVID because everybody wears a fucking mask. And it's like, we could do something so simple.
Believe it or not, they don't have a bunch of middle-aged women storming down to the pharmacy screaming at people for having the nerve to ask them to wear a mask.
Yeah, it's like other countries have not gotten rid of the ability to care for one another, but America, girl, bitch, you're asking for entirely too much. So when you look at the numbers, COVID is worse in the South than it was back when they canceled school in the first place in March or April, whenever they did that. Like way worse, especially in Texas where they're at over 10,000 cases a day and all this. I say all this because Betsy DeVos and her Department of Education is threatening to cancel federal funding to any school districts that do not mandate that schools be open. So, and anytime she is asked about how schools are supposed to safely prepare, she says some version of, well, schools can decide that on their own, whatever works for them, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, bitch, because this is a fucking pandemic, girl. This is a virus that spreads incredibly easily, and it cannot be left up to individual school districts. If schools must be open, then we must have safety precautions in place to make sure that people don't die trying to go to school. But Betsy DeVos will not do that because safety precautions do what? Cost money. And what are they not going to do? Pay for that. Even though, how many yachts does this bitch have? How many homes does this bitch have? The Trump cabinet itself, the richest in the entire history of this country. Why?
When you think about the fact that people were advised to possibly keep buckets full of stones in their classrooms.
My nigga.
A shooter came and attacked the school.
A bucket of stones.
To throw at someone with a gun.
And that's only because they wanted to arm the teachers and everybody was like, bad idea. Bad idea.
Like, yeah,
if they have a bad day, you really don't want them to have a fucking revolver. You do not.
Yeah. It's absurd.
It is. So we are gearing up now for most schools in the South to go back to school in the next 4 to 6 weeks. This impacts me in particular because my mother is a teacher. I have family members who are teachers, very close friends who are teachers. All of them teach in Oklahoma and Texas, where the virus is, again, only going up, way up. Not even
family teachers in Florida.
All of that. And so even though Texas is allowing schools to is allowing parents to decide, you know, your kid stays home and does online learning or they go to school, teachers don't have that same option, and other school staff, because, you know, janitors and cafeteria people and all that are just as important. And so we're dealing now with a situation where you're saying, oh, well, y'all can decide whether to send your kids to school. Like most people don't need school to send their kids to as a form of daycare. Like, I know y'all not looking at it like that. And yes, we expect your kids to get some education, but what you really need is for them kids to get out the house for 7 or 8 hours so you can go about your fucking job.
Exactly.
And that's fine. Honestly, I'm not mad at any parents who are like, look, I have to work. We are in a state where they don't give a shit. They doing evictions right now in Harris County. Like, they are evicting people for not paying rent because they lost their jobs because of COVID. They are evicting people, kicking them out of their homes like that's going to make the situation any better. And so it is not just the students who will be put at risk if they go back to school. It is, of course, the teachers, the support staff, everybody else who works at the school. And it is all of the people who live or interact with those people. Like, that's what y'all don't seem to be understanding. And what I don't get is that, like, we have seen these reports of, 1,200 cases came because of this summer camp. And all these other cases came because, you know, schools or daycares or whatever opened when they wasn't supposed to. And I can't remember which country it was. Maybe China. I feel like I got that wrong. Maybe Israel. Probably still wrong. But there was a country where they reopened schools too early and they got a huge influx of cases. And they were like, okay, wait, no, we should not have done that because children are filthy. Everybody knows it. But even the kids who are the prissiest, cleanest children who wash their hands and sanitize twice an hour or whatever else, they are still in a room of other nasty children. And if you think kids are going to keep their mask on all fucking day when adults don't even do that, you got a whole nother thing coming, especially the younger they are. These kids miss each other. You think they're not going to hug? You think they're not going to whisper down the hallways? You think they're not going to take their masks off and trade because your friend got a mask that's cuter and his got Spider-Man on it and yours got Batman?
Kids will literally lick their palm and then just rub it across the other kid's face.
Because that's how they are, right? And
that's right. That's just...
And so these children will go to school. Inevitably, the virus will pass and it will go across the classroom to the students. It will go to the teacher. The students will go home and pass it to their parents, their grandparents, their siblings, anybody else they come into contact with. And we will end up at a place where thousands more people are dead and we still have to shut schools down. It's almost like we could just skip the part where so many more people die and just shut the shit down now. And I know parents need to be able to work, but that's only because the government won't actually take care of you. The only reason y'all need schools to open back up is because the government won't do what they should be doing for you. And people have a hard time understanding this, but in countries where they value human life, they're not having this problem because they shut the fuck down. They made essential really mean essential. Like you had to have a real reason to be outdoors. And otherwise you sit your ass at home and you get your fucking paycheck recovery check and you mind your damn business until we can get the virus under control. The United States of America had an opportunity to get this virus under control and simply chose not to take it. And they will continue not to take it. And so that's why when some of y'all act like voting don't matter, I get it. I really do get it. Don't get me wrong. I fully understand being disenfranchised. But girl, look at this. Look at this. You can't tell me Hillary Clinton would not have done a better job of handling this. You just can't tell me that. Trump is literally trying to kill all of us. Betsy DeVos don't give a fuck about y'all's kids. They don't give a fuck
at all.
You know why?
Never did.
Rich people's kids go to private school where private schools have the resources to really have these kids in a safer environment, you know, less students per classroom and greater attention to masks and sanitation and all that. Even though it's still a bad idea, kids in private schools come from homes where the money is there to make sure they can keep space from other people if they need to. And they don't necessarily have to be around Meemaw and Granddaddy or your sick auntie or whatever. Like they have the resources to avoid that. Y'all are doing this to these public school kids, knowing good and damn well that their parents need to have somewhere to put them. And you would not have to worry about having somewhere to put your child so you could go to work if the government would just cancel shit so we can sit at home and get this fucking virus under control. They will not do it. I cannot tell you how much I hate these motherfuckers. They have always been putting us at risk, but it's getting even closer to home now. You talking about my family. I mean, you always have been, but now in a schoolhouse situation specifically, you are talking about my people. You're talking about my mama, who I am begging to not go back. I am begging this nigga to not go back to the classroom. I don't know what she's going to do, but like, you're really telling teachers, especially in states where they're not allowed to strike or whatever, like Texas and I think Georgia too, teachers aren't allowed to strike. So it's like, you literally will go push yourself in harm's way, knowing you might die from these kids breathing in your face all fucking day. Or not having money to keep yourself housed and fed. The Trump administration is doing this on purpose. Please go vote.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
So
1000%. I mean, that's the only reason that you niggas got a stimulus check in the first place.
I mean, and it was trash on top of that. What was $1,200 supposed to do? And that was $1,200 like 4 months ago.
Yes. And that's why they're already talking about cranking out another one, because guess what? They need you to give them some money.
But they don't want to.
Like, none of this.
They talking about $600 this time. That's even more of a spit in the face. Like, they simply do not care about us. And maybe if rich niggas like Kanye West didn't take up all the money that was meant for small businesses, we wouldn't be in such an economic hardship like we are now. Maybe if we actually taxed the billionaires and the multimillionaires of this country at a fair rate, we wouldn't have to worry about all this. This country has the money. We have the fucking money. If Kanye West is a billionaire, but his company can still get $2 million from the Paycheck Protection Program, then we have the fucking money to take care of people, because it wasn't just him. It's all these rich people getting these handouts. I think the fucking Lakers even got part of that Small Business Association loan or grant or whatever it was. And it's like, y'all just really don't give a shit. This was just really a way for y'all to, like, there's just no oversight. There's nobody in charge who actually gives a fuck about people. So I'm not going to tell you as parents what you should or should not do, because y'all in a position that I cannot imagine. But what I will say is that if schools open up for in-person learning, we will see way more people die. Way more.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Because it's like, of course, like, a lot of parents like, they gotta go to work, somebody gotta watch the kids. Like, that's completely understandable. And that whole thing, the fucked up part about it is there's not any real plan, process, anything in place to try and even attempt to do this in a safe way. At best, maybe somebody will come and drop off some gauze and like some Tums to the school and say, do your best. Like, nobody's really going to like do anything or put anything in place to actually try and do this in a safe way or provide. They're not. They're going to open the schools back up so that, you know, the engines can keep running and the rich can stay rich and all of that. In the meantime, they're going to continue to spread the virus and more people will die, and then they'll just find something else to blame it on. Nothing is going to get done. Yay, the world's fun.
I mean, and this is just, it is honestly getting harder for me every day to live in this country. Just seeing how it is, seeing how they just blatantly don't give a shit about us. They just don't. And I don't even know. Like, I'm just so completely disheartened by what's been going on. It's hard for me to handle. So.
That's fair.
Well, oh, and also to all you geeks, you Glee nerds out there, I understand that y'all are hurting right now with the loss of Naya Rivera. I think a lot of people are, but you better leave the cast out of it. Leave them the fuck alone. Man. I mean, and I know that I'm biased, like Amber is a friend of mine, but for real, these are people who actually knew Naya, who were very close to her, who loved her, who called her a sister. Like, let them people grieve in their own way, because they are dealing in a way that you can't fathom. You were a fan, okay? You liked Santana, but you don't actually know that girl like they do. So back the fuck up.
I mean, I feel like since Twitter's inception, I've said before, someone notable dies, if I say anything, I say my little rest in peace or, you know, my love going out to people that care about them, and I log off because I don't even want to see the way that niggas can act up. It shouldn't even be a thing to talk about. It should be incredibly basic. Like, right. Like, you harassing them, asking them to post or whatever. Like, what do you think they're going to post that's going to change what's happening in the world right now? Those people are grieving. You stupid? They are human beings and they are grieving. So just leave them the fuck alone. Newsflash, the world's already trash and then tragedy. Like, yeah, some people might actually be asleep. Yeah. Like, some people might actually be underneath their covers right now because they can't even. Don't nobody owe you nothing. Right. People are so fucking ridiculous. So, anyway. Please just leave them alone. Please let these people heal. Pray for the family. If you gonna do anything, do that. That's literally it. Like, that has to be the worst kind of pain imaginable. So that's it. Yes. And let that be that. Amen. And that wraps up this week's episode of The Read. Check us out on social media at This Is The Read. Our website is thisistheread.com. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, ThredUp. I love ThredUp. They have helped get my summer wardrobe together for very, very few dollars. You too can shop all your favorite brands at thredup.com. Over 45,000 of them for women's or kids' clothing, bags, shoes, all kind of stuff. So again, go check them out and get an extra 30% off your first order at thredup.com/read. Terms do apply, but yeah, go check them out. thredup.com/read. And
Oh, do we have anything else, friend?
So the things that made me smile this week, one, quarantine has taught me that every day can be Mimosa Day. And this is probably something that many of you are like, nigga, duh, where have you been? I don't know. I'm not sure. I personally don't like to drink at home alone much, for my own reasons. Alcoholism runs in my family. So I usually have just been like, no, I don't know. Maybe a little red wine, like, while I ride.
Yes, Auntie.
But as of the past week or two, I've been like, wait, I'm an adult. I have access to champagne and sparkling wine and orange juices. I can have all the mimosas I want.
Oh, yeah. You can have your own brunch right there at the house.
And I also, I like to use pineapple orange rather than just orange because orange is great and pineapple is great. And then together they're like the garnet. They're like the garnet of fruit juice. They just blend together well. Also, the thing that made me smile was UFC 251 and Jorge Masvidal being completely humbled by the Nigerian. Oh, what's his fucking nickname? They all got some kind of nickname. But anyway, Kamaru Usman, Nigerian mixed martial arts badass, gave Jorge Masvidal, Miami UFC sensation, the much needed slice of humble pie that he needed to get. It was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen in my life, but at the same time, I appreciated that he got the humbling that he needed. And what really made me smile was that, like, it reminded me of the year that Ronda Rousey was on the cover of EA's UFC 2 video game, because she was like huge superstar at the time. So of course she's on the cover of the game. And then she got humbled by, I can't remember her name right now.
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey she fought this. What the fuck is the woman's name?
I remember this too. I'm finna look it up.
I'm just gonna fucking destroy me. I can't remember her name, but I remember her face. Blonde. I feel like maybe her initials are the same letter. Maybe they're not.
It was the big one. What was that? Amanda Nunes?
No. I think Amanda Nunes beat her ass too, but no. Holly. Is it Holly Holm? HOLLYHOLM. Yes.
Was that it?
Yes.
Oh, damn. That was 2015.
Yes.
Wait.
Holly Holm.
Oh, yes. That was because niggas was stunned.
She humbled the absolute fuck out of that white woman. And I'm fairly certain it was the same year that Ronda Rousey was on the cover of that game. And they just announced UFC 4, the latest game. Jorge Masvidal is on the cover. He accepted this fight in Abu Dhabi at the last minute because I don't even think he was supposed to fight Usman. But them two hate each other. Like, they've like gotten to little almost fights in public and shit outside of that. Like, they despise one another. So it was supposed to be this huge thing. And Jorge Masvidal has all of this heat behind him because he's a nigga who fought in backyards and shit in Miami like Kimbo slicing him. And he's the cockiest motherfucker in the world and all this other shit. And so he was just talking about how he was going to baptize this black man. And it was just going to be the fight of all fights. No, you weren't ready at all. He had to kind of school you on how to be like built to last.
Damn.
So that's what I took away from that. I took a smile that someone once again was humbled in the UFC match and that I am also a sports fan and you can't take that away from me. I have an ESPN Plus account. I'm into sports, I do this. So thank you.
Okay.
And a real sport. It's very honest. It's very brutal and bloodthirsty. There's not all this running back and forth and panting and whatever, mildly talented folks like Carmelo Anthony and who plays football? Patrick Ewing.
What?
And so
Patrick Ewing. Oh my God, you just saying names.
And that's it.
Man. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of The Read. Take care of yourselves and we will see y'all next week.